Hi there. I'm Brandon. This is my co-founder, Brian. We're here to tell you about Bark. Our mission is to help keep children safe online. One thing I think we can all agree on is that technology is awesome. It's one of the many reasons we're all gathered here this week. I have 2 kids, and like the vast majority of kids today, they spend a lot of time socializing through connected devices. And as a parent, I want to find a way for them to maximize their use of technology to the fullest. But the reality is, new technology creates new risks. I hope my son never receives a message like this. And sadly, as we've seen, it's all too common. And if he's sending messages like this, saying something like, "I want to die," I'd like to know so that I could get him the help that he needs. Unfortunately for me today, as a parent, my only options are to pick up my son's phone and scroll through his messages, or to save his passwords and randomly spot check his activity online. And both of those options suck. They suck because I want my son to feel like he can socialize independently of me. And they suck for me as the parent because I don't want to spend hours scrolling through every LOL and OMG message he writes. This manual process is a daily friction point, and that's exactly why we created Bark. Because parents need a smarter solution to help keep their children safe online. Using content scraped from publicly available data on social networks and messages we've processed from our users, we've developed machine learning-based algorithms to detect issues like cyberbullying, sexting, and signs of depression and suicide. If we detect an issue, we send an alert to the parent along with recommended actions on how to deal with the issue. But to be clear, Bark does not provide a parent unfettered access to a child's messages, only to potential problems. Because our goal is to build communication and trust around online safety. Let's take a quick look at how it works. From bark.us, you'd sign up using an email and a password. First step is to add your child. We ask for some additional information about the child to help tailor our analysis. At this point, ideally, you and your child are sitting down together talking about the severity and the permanency of messages that they post online. We give you some tips to start that conversation if needed. If you're not together, you can send both you and your child a text reminder at a more convenient time when you can sit down and have that conversation. You can also send your child an email so that they can connect their accounts independently of you. When you're ready to connect their accounts, we support 15 major social platforms, various email providers, and iOS and Android text messaging. We'll use Twitter for this demo. With the account connected, we'll continue on to configure the notifications. We've heard from parents of 17-year-olds that they want to be notified differently than that of an 11-year-old. These controls allow you to do that. At this point, Bark is monitoring those connected accounts in the background. If we detect an issue, we send you an alert that looks something like this. Clicking through the alert, you're presented with a message, the parties involved, the time it was sent and received, and the social platform it was found on. We give the parent the ability to confirm whether it is or is not an issue, and this feedback for us is incredibly valuable as we continue to improve the service. If it is an issue, you're presented recommended actions on how to deal with this type of issue. We've leaned heavily on our team of child psychologists to help us tailor recommendations for the specific issues that we monitor. Let's flip back to the slides, please. In the last few months, we've analyzed over 1 million messages, and we found that just over half of children connected to Bark have had at least one issue, ranging from cyberbullying all the way to potentially fatal suicidal situations. What's more, though, is the majority of those parents reported being completely unaware of the issue before being alerted. That is eye-opening. More important than volume, though, is accuracy. We've been able to confirm the accuracy of our algorithm with the parents themselves. And this confirmation is especially important as we continue to improve. Bark is just $9 per month per family, unlimited children, unlimited connected accounts. We have a unique approach working directly with schools and nonprofits to provide them affiliate revenue. This allows them to satisfy their fundraising needs, offer their families value, and keep their general population safe online. To date, we have over 100 schools committed to working with us. Our mission is to help keep children safe online while offering them privacy and allowing their families to build that trust in the process. We hope that you'll join us at bark.us. Thank you.
Okay, I think some of our judges are parents, right? Any thoughts whether you get this for your kids? Go ahead, John. Yeah.
Yeah, I've questions. I have a lot of questions for you. So first, I want to understand: is this a VPN or are you authoring into the apps?
We're authoring into the app so that we get a constant flow of their activity.
Okay, so that assumes that they actually give you the account name that they're actually using.
It does.
And so with Instagram, where Finsters, and they have like 10, 15 different accounts which their parents don't know about, that doesn't work. Okay. So let's assume that they auth into the accounts. How do you, as a parent, one of the things, I've seen software like this, and one of the things that frustrates me is that I look at this and I say, is there a way to design something, think about something that actually gives the child an ability to be able to set some goals, manage against something, and not make it a purely oppositional sort of parent is going to install this on your phone, and because I'll tell you, the kids are way smarter than me, than maybe you, and they're smarter than this. They're going to get around this. I would have. I was smarter when I was younger.
No, I think that's a great point. And so we do a couple of things around that. I mean, really our vision is to provide kids a way to preserve their privacy while doing this. So we've actually assembled a youth advisory board, and we meet with them routinely to get feedback on features. Our goal really is to make this as good for them as possible. What we've found is that given that this is really much better than the typical alternative that kids have currently, where their mom is scrolling through their phone randomly, they're logging in as them, trying to snoop around, that snooping actually goes down, right? And so this is actually a positive for the child. So that's what we've seen. But definitely a big part of our focus is to continue to push in the direction of how do we make this as good of an experience for the child as possible. That's definitely top of mind for us.
And just to be clear, the filtering that you're doing is purely text-based, is that correct?
Images as well, yeah.
So how are you filtering the images for an inappropriate image or something like that?
We scan nudity in messages itself, and then for iOS, for example, we'll scan the pictures and the videos that are on the phone there. Same for Android.
And human beings are looking at them? How are you doing this?
No, it's all machine learning based. Yeah.
So you're looking, okay. But
So
okay, keep going. Sorry.
No, I have a lot of the same questions. But do you know what % of parents make sure their kids have opted in as opposed to deciding they will put their child's email address and mobile phone number?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually one of the core things that we track, right? Is people go down the conversion funnel for us. And actually that was a big problem for us early on was, parents would sign up, obviously they wanted to use it, but only a quarter of them to begin with were actually getting the kids to connect the accounts, right? We've actually increased that to up to close to 70% now. So as we've optimized the product, done some things to tailor it more towards the child, and helping them really understand the benefit of this. And a lot of it is there's a partial education component with the parents. A lot of times they don't understand these issues, and so part of our job is to really help them understand that and be able to start that dialogue, because fundamentally kids tend to try to avoid things when they feel like there's a heavy-handed situation going on, and our goal is to actually mitigate that to the best of our ability.
How do you stay ahead so you're analyzing images for, I presume, nudity, et cetera, but how do you analyze them for just a threat that is a little harder to sort of, or body language or things like that? That's just on images. And then as communications gets to be more video, and how do you analyze video and audio? Because I think whatever sort of tools were used 5-10 years ago will not be the tools that are used now or in 5 to 10 years in the future. Yeah,
that's fair. I mean, the beauty of machine learning is how powerful it is. The downside is the amount of data it takes to really power it in a successful way. So obviously the more data we get, and we're doing a number of things, we have kind of a team of data labelers that's constantly labeling things that we've pulled down and scraped. We feed back our own user data in to make it smarter, right? So over time, it'll actually understand those kinds of things better and better over time, right? Audio is relatively easy in the sense that you can convert it to text relatively easily and then process it with the same way we process any other text. Videos, similarly, is a sequence of images, right? So we can break them up and kind of analyze it that way. There's certainly a ton of optimization that we have to do there, but that's been our approach to date. And we've caught, I think Brandon mentioned, over half of kids have had one significant issue, ranging from serious cyberbullying issues to potentially fatal suicide situations. So the fact that that half of kids have had an issue points to the fact that we are adding a ton of value to those families' situation, right? Even where we're at now.
I'm certain that all parents would be in favor of this. I'm wondering how much testing you've done to find out what the kids' reaction are. I mean, I can't believe 100% of kids want this. Although, frankly, I would think a regular, normal kid going to school would like this kind of extra protection, possibly, because they are a victim they could be a victim. So, have you done much testing on the?
Yeah, absolutely.
Side?
Both before we launched, throughout the process, we do a ton of customer discovery, both not only with parents but also with kids. And you're absolutely right. There is a spectrum of how kids react to it. It's partially age-based. It's also largely based on the dynamic that the family has had in place to date, right? If a family is trying to use this with a 17-year-old that's never been monitored at all in any way, obviously there's going to be more pushback. And that's okay, right? But fundamentally, the vast majority of kids are very happy with this because, again, it's far better than what they've been used to, which is their mom kind of grabbing their phone and reading through stuff. This has mitigated that. And so the feedback we typically get from kids is, this is great, I'm actually getting more privacy. Parents spending far less hours looking through stuff, and this helps to build trust because fundamentally, if your parent is constantly looking at your phone, it kind of sucks, and it's not a good way to build trust between the two of you.
How are you going to market this?
Yeah, so we have a number of customer acquisition channels. We started early on testing our paid strategy. We were able to optimize that down to about a $22 cost of acquisition. We are estimating about a $300 lifetime value, so we're happy with the ratio. Obviously, as we start to scale, we need to continue to make sure that we optimize and try to drive it down further, maintain that ratio at a minimum. PR, we actually think is going to be a fantastic avenue for us, and for a couple of reasons. One, these issues are in the news all the time, right? Sexting scandals, cyberbullying scandals, etc. So our ability to offer a solution to those conversations is actually really powerful and very timely. But also we're becoming kind of the first source of truth in the space in terms of data. If you Google like how many kids are getting cyberbullied, you'll get surveys that range from 8% of kids to 63% of kids, and it all depends on how the surveys are done, et cetera. But we actually have first-party data around this. And so as time goes on, that enables us to do some really interesting infographics and data journalism. And so we're really excited about that as well. And also we want to use that data to kind of add a layer of value to parents, give them more insights into their family and how to work with their kids in a better way.
How long does it take for you to learn the behavioral mechanics of a new service? Because Vine is different from Snapchat, which is different from Instagram, and there will be N number of other ones in the future. So how long does it take for you to get up to speed and understand sort of what bad behavior looks like on a new channel?
I mean, the good news is bad behavior kind of looks the same on most. I mean, there's a relatively finite number of things that kids can do, and it's kind of the same. The mechanism by which they do it is certainly different, and there are challenges with us implementing any different network, how we ingest them, how we process them, et cetera. But the actual, once we've got the data, the actual processing is the same.
Speak to me, you didn't have the 800-pound yellow gorilla. Snapchat's not in here, right?
That's correct, yeah. So we're actively working on that. That obviously represents an additional layer of challenge. And we certainly respect platforms' desire to keep certain things private. I think, though, as time goes on, you'll continue to see platforms realize that they need to do more around safety, and a lot of platforms are. And so we want to be positioned to offer that as a value for them. So we're working with a couple of small anonymous apps now on a B2B level, offering this as a content moderation tool. So whether it's that offering or whether it's sort of a partnering with our consumer app, where parents can opt in the same fashion as they do other things, we think there's a huge opportunity to work with all of these platforms in a way that kind of aligns with their goals around privacy.
There's anonymity and perishable content, but it's also because it's fundamentally a mobile app and they don't have, so you can't like spoof, I mean, you'd have to like spoof a mobile access, which they'd shut you down on, right?
That's right, and that's why we haven't done that one specifically, because there is no, obviously,
Snapchat.
developer API. That's right. But certainly moving forward, again, we think there's a real opportunity for a partnership there where we can kind of walk the same line as them with respect to trying to keep their users' privacy while still, in an opt-in way, allowing parents to because we get parents all the time that say, I can't let my kids be on these platforms, right? But once they're, even we see all the time, parents will say, even with Instagram or Vine or something like that, my child really wants to be on this, I've said no, but now that we have your solution, we're saying okay, because we feel like there's a layer of protection there in place. And so we're trying to extend the same thing to those kinds of networks as well.
So my kids are too old for this, but they would have gone nuts if I had suggested it. But I wonder if there's a different way of thinking about it where if my daughter's account was being monitored by Bark, that there was some kind of icon on it that would alert a kid who might be thinking about cyberbullying her that somebody's going to be looking through this, right?
Like neighborhood
Not
watch
her
for
parents.
kids' eyeballs.
Exactly, yeah.
That's right, and we've actually started to experiment with things around that where, can we somehow bring the child into it and say, hey, look, we haven't let your parent know about this quite yet, but like, let's try to resolve this without involving them. We haven't nailed the execution on that, and obviously, given the parent is our customer, we have to be very sensitive with respect to how we do that, but we're definitely experimenting with that, because again, paramount to what we're trying to do, and that's why we don't allow parents to just see every message their kids send, right? It's only the ones that are flagged. So in line with that, we want to extend that and figure out other ways to kind of add value to the child, not just to the parent.
Yeah, and if you created an option for the child so that a 14-year-old or a 16-year-old could opt in, and either they pay it or their parents pay it, but they choose this as a way to say to people, beware.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, give it up for Bark, guys.
Thank you.